Hey Virgos, welcome to March 2019. I hope you guys are doing well. So 3 cards have already popped out. We got changes, a sign from the universe, and then a young earth sign. This person has been popping up quite a bit in your guys's readings. So this is a young earth sign, which is Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. There is an M in their name, and they're giving you a lot of strength that you didn't even know you had. Like, you're growing from your relationship with this person. That it's almost like they remind you of your younger self because of their earth tendencies. And it's really kind of healing your inner child through it. It's like, oh, that's how I was as a kid, or that's how I used to be. And it's reminding you of the things that adulthood and society and pressures have kind of asked you to push down. And now this young earth sign is reminding you of that in a really positive way. So changes that feel like a sign from the universe, like a major sign from the universe, major change that will affect your sense of freedom. And it truly is stemming from the growth that you've encountered through this young earth sign, okay, with an M in their name. So Judgment card just popped out. You're going to be judged when it comes to this change. Sorry, just is what it is. One way to combat it is to judge yourself first. Be like, okay, based on this change that you manifested, because we create our world, so you would have asked for this change in some way, shape, or form, sort of be the bearer of bad news if it's not a positive change, which it usually is. You just have to wait a little bit longer. So this change comes in, and the judgment that you receive from it, you want to scale it back to yourself and be like, okay, how do I feel about this change? How do I feel about the fact that I manifested this change into my life? If you feel cool with it, that's all that matters. If you're struggling with it and you're like, oh, I made this change, I brought this change in, but now should I have done it? You're going to start to see a lot more judgment because you're open to it. So you're going to kind of ask open-ended questions like, okay, this change came in, what do you think? And people are going to sense that, as opposed to this change came in, I'm psyched about it, this is awesome. And then even if somebody is like, well, you're not going to hear it. And you're like, well, what? It's my change, my life. Thank you. Next. Okay, so let's see. March 2019 for the Virgos. March 2019 Virgos. Really quickly want to let you guys know, because you are ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury retrograde starts March 6th, ends March 22nd. Don't sign any contracts. If you're going to do long distance travel, make sure that you go over the itinerary over and over again and plan for delays. Short distance travels are also going to be affected, so plan for delays. If you take the subway or, the train, maybe for the month of March, you just drive in and and have water and food and an empty bottle of pee in, because expect delays. And yeah, just don't sign any contracts. Don't start anything new during Mercury retrograde, because you guys are Virgos. You're ruled by the planet Mercury. It will affect you in a more profound way, you and the Geminis, in a more profound way than any other sign. So you've been forewarned. Technology, back up your phone, back up your computers. It's already been messing with me hardcore. So, okay. The good thing about Mercury retrograde is it's pulling you back before you can transform outwardly. So this Mercury retrograde is going to pull you back into yourselves so you can kind of take a look around, kind of dig through, and look at how this change is affecting you, because you are going through a major transformation. What is this that I see? I see a duck. I see a rubber duck. And that reminds me of the rubber duck from my daughter's bath, and my dog just bit off the beak. So I wonder if that's your message. Something about your communication, because Mercury does rule communication. Somebody biting your beak off, attacking you because of something that you said, something that you wanted to express. March is a 3 universal month in a 3 universal year. So you get that double dose of 3 energy. And when you look at the number 3, it's supposed to look like lips, open lips. 3 is all about self-expression, all about creativity through self-expression. So yeah, I think somebody's going to be snapping over something that you've said, and you're saying this because you've transformed. You're making this statement. You're speaking your truth because of the inner transformations that you've made, and they're going to just they're going to bite back real fast and real hard. So be prepared, get your armor up, put on your armor and be prepared for it. And try to just recognize that them snapping on you and snapping back like that is only just a projection and of their own insecurities. Okay. Something that you're going to say, Virgo, is triggering their own insecurities. Don't take ownership. You just need to speak your truth. And if that rubs that person the wrong way, that's on them. That is absolutely nothing to do with you. You're just speaking your truth. That's your birthright and you're entitled to that. And if they have a problem with that, then hey, there's the door. Okay. Obstacle and the aid is feeling powerless. You've been feeling powerless for a very long time. I want to move forward, but I can't go that way. Can I go that way? I don't know where that's going to lead. My husband has a lot of Virgo energy, and this is exactly what he's been dealing with for the past year. A lot of, should I go there or should I go there? Or, sometimes having a lot of opportunities ends up being detrimental because you got to make that decision, right? And if you have any Libra in your chart, that's going to be brutal. That's going to be brutal. So the obstacle and the aid to your transformation is your feelings of powerlessness. So you feeling powerless is going to hinder your transformation, but you feeling powerless is exactly why you need to transform yourself and speak your truth without the fear of your beak being plucked off, okay? Subconsciously, we have the Hermit card here. So this is what you're manifesting outwardly from right here. Alone time, loneliness, isolation, solitude, inner analysis. I don't know why the Hermit card is 9, because for me, the 9 is all about humanitarianism, right? Going out into being like an undercover within a community that's marginalized. The Hermit card feels more like a 7 to me, which is all about complete solitude, isolation, inner analysis, study, like inner study. And really the 7 energy, along with the Hermit energy, is kind of throwing that match on your old life, burning it up in flames, and starting anew. That's the way I see 7 and the Hermit card. So that's what's beneath your surface. You guys are lighting that match, just ready to, to toss it on your old life and start something new. You're thinking about what you're manifesting outward. Okay. So you are a lot more cognizant this month where you're like, okay, I need to stay positive. I need to control my mind because what I'm putting out there, it is coming back times 3. So if I'm only thinking about, whatever, I'll give you an example. So my husband is addicted to his phone, addicted. And he never even had a cell phone in the longest time. He's not on social media. So I'm like, what are you even doing? So my husband is addicted to his phone, but he's not doing anything on it. And it's such a representation of his life. He's not doing anything. He has all these opportunities, but he's not stepping into his power. So look at your life, those small things. Like, do you have an addiction to weed? Do you have an addiction to TV? Where are your addictions? Do you have an addiction to food, right? We all have something that we're addicted to. Look at your addictions on a small scale and be like, okay, how is that translating into my life on a wider scale? Addiction to weed, I get, munchies and I want to just lay on the couch, watch TV and do absolutely nothing. How is that representative of my life where all I'm doing is munching out, lazing about, and not doing anything? If your addiction is with TV, how are you creating dramas in your life that don't necessarily need to be there? If your addiction is to sex, how am I constantly creating and trying to connect with people and not being alone and, doing that self-pleasure? Something along those lines. Take a look at your small addictions and then see how that translates into your life on a wide scale. And then you can figure out how to make those transformations, right? Because you're like, okay, all I have to do is start small. If I'm addicted to coffee, all I got to do is, how about today I'll just have 1 coffee instead of 8, something along those lines. I'm thinking of my Virgo mom. She's always got a coffee in one hand, cigarette in the other, and on her computer. Okay, so sleeping is still a little bit of trouble. I will let you guys in on some advice. Get yourself a dream pillow. My husband has been having a lot of trouble sleeping, and it's just a pillow that you put inside your pillow. It has a lot of herbs in it. I think it's like mugwort, sweet hops, marjoram, and lavender. And I got it from Green Earth at the mall. But yeah, it works absolute wonders. Definitely, if you're having trouble sleeping, you need to figure out what's going on. You need to try and combat that because sleep is absolutely everything. And during this Mercury retrograde, you guys are going to need to be well rested. You need to have your mind sharp. So do whatever you have to can to make the positive changes in order to have better sleeps. Pisces season will help because Pisces, if you know any Pisces, they love to sleep. They really rule that unseen world, that sleep world. Yes. So you guys right now, you got new money coming in. It's going to be handed to you guys on a silver platter. You know, this change could absolutely be positive, especially if you start to see a huge return on investment with it. If you start to see money coming in through this change, then you know that you're on the right path and then the judgment doesn't matter. Just be careful that the end justifies the means. So if your change is to be a drug dealer and you know you're going to be getting paid through it, just make sure that the judgment sits right with you, right? Because I'm not judging you. Do what you got to do. We all need to support our families, and it's all coming from love, right? Okay. Family and friends, they see that you're partnered up. They see that you're in a relationship. It doesn't seem to be a soulmate / twin flame partnership right now. And I think because you're transforming so much and because you feel so powerless and you're not sleeping well, I think that on a soul level, you know that this relationship is not necessarily sitting well with your family, and you know that this relationship is not necessarily sitting well with you. So there's some pushback when it comes to your relationship in terms to your family and friends. Okay, so that could be another one of those changes that brings in judgment. Maybe deciding to end a relationship, maybe deciding, you know, March being a 3-month in numerology and a 3-year is going to have that master number 33 energy translated to a 6, reduced to a 6, which is all about domestic duties and responsibilities. And the 6 energy usually does bring in some sort of separation, divorce, renewal of vows. For instance, I'm in my 6th personal year and I'm going to, celebrate a 10-year anniversary. So it's really a close match when it comes to moving forward or deciding to start new, but within that same relationship. Okay, so you might want to do something that confirms to your family and friends that you are sticking to this relationship by doing some sort of renewal or maybe even just speaking your truth. Be like, well, I love them. You know, I had a friend back in the day and guys, whatever. So I'm just sitting there on the couch and I'm a Libra. So I love love, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm listening to my husband and all of his friends talking about, you got to dump this girl, man. Like she's the worst. And, all he said was, well, I love her. And somebody went to say something. I just stepped in and I'm like, okay, this is where we shut it down. He loves her. That's all that matters. That's all you need to know. He's happy with her. He loves her. Mind your business, right? And that was shocking back then. Now they're married and have a beautiful daughter. But yeah, so if you're finding that people are giving you a lot of judgment because of decisions that you're making, all you have to really do is say, hey, I'm happy. I love my life. I love my relationship. I love what I'm doing in my life right now. Mind your business. And hopefully that's enough for them to be like, okay. Or that's when you get the bite back where it's like, why? So who knows how it works out. Comment below, let me know how this expression of your truth has affected your partnerships and your relationships, especially with your family and friends. Hope and fear, Virgo, is moving on from something. Moving on, mainly because of this duty, this sense of responsibility. So that's one of the reasons why you feel like you can't move on. But you also know that when it comes to moving on, you want more for yourself, right? You know that just say you don't want to be a blue collar worker anymore. You want to make the transition into white collar work. You have the credentials or you know that you can get the credentials. You want something more, but there's still, of course, that fear, because if you were to move on, not only do you completely transform your life, but you transform the lives of everybody around you. And that's terrifying because you want to make sure that you're still serving them. You want to make sure that you're still taking care of your duties and your responsibilities and providing, right? Virgo is all about service to others and the people that they care about. Like Moon and Virgo, I'm surrounded by Moon and Virgos, and literally I can sit on the couch and I'm just always getting served food or tea or coffee. What do you need? Can I get you this? They never sit down, right? Moon and Virgos are just buzzing around, just wanting to do errands, wanting to serve, wanting to give. That's how they feel complete and whole. So if you feel like you moving on will affect you from serving in those ways, try to focus on what you can now serve with this new change, with this new beginning that moving on would bring you. So the outcome, Virgo, for March 2019 is you're going to keep realizing and remembering that what you think and what you feel is a magic wand and it's creating your world. With that, you change the way you speak and communicate with this air sign. So this is masculine energy. This is Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. Masculine energy. They've gone through a lot of transformations. They talk a lot. And I think that you need to recognize your thought patterns in order to recognize their thought patterns. So it's almost like you intuitively know, okay, I know why that air sign said that because I can think about their thought process and recognize that because I used to have that same thought process, but I've stopped myself. I've stopped myself from those worries and that anxiety. I recognize that me worrying about something is just going to create more things to worry about. So if you find that this air sign is doing the same thing that you know so well and you've had to transform yourself from because you've had no peace at night, you can't shut your mind down at night, you've had no peace, you feel completely powerless to it, you can now look at this air sign and say, okay, I think we need to focus more on what we have and move on with what we have and not focus so much on the lack, on the worries, on the anxiety. Give you another example. I have my son in the 9th house, so travel is incredibly important to me. My moon and rising husband in Virgo has high anxiety when it comes to vacation. He couldn't just sit on the beach and just chill. So for me, that's been such a struggle because we focus so much on not going on vacation, on, the worries. Well, what if this happened? Well, we have a baby. Well, what if that happened? Disease and yada, yada, yada. But if we just focus on the fact that, hey, we're so abundant that we can throw down $2,000 to go somewhere else, to just leave our home and be pampered and be in the sun, like that's so blessed, right? Like that's unbelievably blessed. So focusing on something like that will completely transform your relationship with the air sign, unless you are thinking that you need to just move on from them completely, but you're thinking about the 3 emotional people that will have a problem with it. So that could be the change that you're thinking about, and realizing that if you were to drop the air sign, you'd be completely transformed and you'd have money, right? Because the air signs can spend quite fast, right? Whereas a Virgo is a little bit more detailed oriented when it comes to money, depending on what your other placements are. But that could be where the judgment is coming from as well if you are thinking of moving on. This is the month to do it. This is the year to do it. This is a really positive year. So if you are thinking of making a huge relationship change, a drastic relationship change, this is definitely the month and year to do it because the other person will be more positive than usual. If you do it next year, it's a lot more grounding energy where you can be worried about this person's health, be worried about what this person's future is going to look like. But if you do it well, we have the positive energy of March and 2019, there's going to be a lot more optimism. They're going to be a lot more optimistic, and you can actually possibly do a separation in a very cordial way, in a very mutually respectable way as well, where you're able to create a new plan. Be like, okay, well, what if I, whatever. So love you guys so much. As always, please comment, like, subscribe, and share. And if you want a personalized reading, my details are below. Hope you have an amazing March, and I will see you in April. Bye, Virgos.